Merry meet and welcome. Welcome to the realms of mysticism, the occult, and magic, where your possibilities are only limited by your imagination. Welcome to the Witch's Cauldron and discover the knowledge you seek. Gather round the cauldron and even stay for a spell. Brightest blessings to you. Merry meet and welcome to the Witch's Cauldron. My name's Paula. Today I'm going to do one of my astrology breakdown videos. And I want to talk about the new moon in Aries that will be occurring April the 11th/12th. The new moon will be occurring depending on your time zone. I'm just going to give you a couple of time zones and then you can figure it out for yourself. In the US, Pacific Standard Time, the new moon will occur at 7:30 p.m. on the 11th. That would be 10:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time in the US Eastern Time Zone. In the UK, depending on where you are, in the UK, the new moon will occur in the early morning on the 12th of April at 3:30 a.m. So you can kind of, do your calculations there as you will. Remember that new moons, that energy, is there for the night of and the night after. Okay, that's when the energies are there for the new moon. The night before the new moon is actually the dark moon, and that is a different energy, like if you're working magic or wanting to try and manifest anything. Okay, so you want to make sure you have your intent set. And let's go over some of the astrological influences that are going to be in play. From an astrology standpoint, there is a lot of stuff going on and has been going on for the last 12 to 18 months. April is a power month. We are coming into a power time. And what that means is that most of the personal planets, in other words, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mercury, are going to be in Aries or will very soon be moving into Aries. Remember that Aries is the cardinal fire sign, okay? It is at the beginning, all right? Remember that Leo is the fixed, and then Sagittarius is the mutable. So since it is a cardinal sign, this is about new beginnings, new starts, bringing new things, manifesting new things into your life. There has been one driving force, well, a couple of major driving forces that have been in play. Of course, everybody remembers the conjunct of Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. Okay, we've got that in play. But during this time, Saturn is square Uranus. Okay, and that was the case for most of 2021. Okay, now remember, Saturn is like the planet of tradition, societal expectations, formal laws and rules, and the old ways of doing things. Uranus, on the other hand, is a planet of chaos, the unexpected, challenging the normal, thinking outside the box. So all of 2021, or the preponderance of 2021, that is going to be at the core of what's going on. It's the old versus the new, control versus freedom, okay? Now remember, the sun is in Aries, and Aries is ruled by the planet Mars, okay? This will also be the first period of time when all planets have been direct for a while. And this will be the case until April the 27th, when Pluto actually goes retrograde. If you recall, last summer, we had 6 planets in retrograde at one time. It was just complete chaos and mayhem all over the place. There are 4 planets, as I said, in Aries for this new moon. And that is Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Venus, plus Chiron, Aries, and Ceres. Oh, I couldn't even read my own handwriting. Isn't that horrible? Remember that Aries is a sign of action, of quick, decisive action. And it's also a time of being mentally quick. So you may find a quickening in your mental acuity during this period of time. You could be going down the rabbit hole. You'll get a subject in your brain you want to learn about, and you'll go down a rabbit hole to expand your knowledge about something, okay? It's about that mental quickness. The North Node is in Gemini. So this is a year of choices, okay? This is a time of choices. Since March of 2020, and I'm going to make this as kind of an observation, and you guys can make of it what you like, okay? Usually when planets transit, they transit through most of the zodiac, okay? The planets from Mars and out, okay, the further planets, since March of 2021, have all been constrained in one hemisphere of the zodiac. In other words, one half of it. If you had the zodiac and you split it down the middle, the planets have been transiting just in the 6 on one side of the hemisphere for the zodiac. Now, this coincides, this restriction, this lockdown occurred in March of 2020, which happened to coincide with a lot of the lockdowns worldwide for the pandemic. However, Mars, during this new moon, Mars, which is Aries' ruling planet, will be what is called out of bounds. In other words, it is breaking free and will be out of bounds of that hemisphere, okay? Mars will veer more than 23 degrees out of its ecliptic. So what this results in, I mean, it's like things are amped up. Emotions are amped up. You will feel more assertive, have more drive. However, remember that Aries and Mars, okay, Mars, its ruling planet, is a warrior, okay? So it can also mean that you're quicker to get angry, more argumentative. A lot of relationship issues can really bubble to the top right now. So just kind of keep that in mind, that things can be really, because of the transit of Mars, and Mars being the ruling planet for the sign of Aries, okay? And excuse me, I've got pages and pages of notes of what's going on. So what does all of this really mean? Don't make big decisions too quickly, okay? At this time, kind of let your heart weigh in and have a say in any big decisions that you're going to make. Okay, this is a great time for you to expand and embrace your intuition and allow your heart to help you make the best choices. Now, Mars entered Gemini on March 26th, and it will soon be entering Cancer. And this is, again, breaking constraints, breaking free, breaking out of that box. It's also getting you to see the bigger picture of everything that is going on. You need to have your eyes wide open during this period of time. Now, before the actual new moon, on the 9th, Neptune will square Mars. And Neptune is like the planet of spirituality and mysticism and the occult, things like this. So this puts a focus of your goals, maybe being more spiritually oriented, or perhaps pouring yourself into unconditional love and taking a snapshot of what's going on in your life and your relationships. If you remember, the Saturn-Jupiter conjunct encouraged you to let go of things that no longer serve you. So this may also help you assess where in your relationships there are an imbalance. Are you the one doing all the work? Okay. Is your love and your effort unrequited, or is it returned to you unconditionally? From the 9th through the 17th, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus is conjunct Aries and square Pluto in Capricorn. So there is a whole lot going on there as well, especially with respect to your love and your relationships and your ability to communicate and to communicate effectively. Be careful with your words, okay? Because right now we could lash out and just absolutely rip someone to shreds, and then feel a lot of remorse and regret for lashing out. And sometimes those wounds, I've said a lot that, in relationships where there is an imbalance of power, where there is not an equal give and take, or in cases of domestic abuse, that oftentimes the physical wounds heal. But it's the words and the emotional wounds that stay with you forever, okay? And I just encourage you, rather than, just lashing out and ripping someone to shreds, to take a breath before you open your mouth and let it kind of process and really think about what you're saying. So let's get into the new moon. So what would be great for you to do on the new moon is to set new intent. This is a time for you to plant the seeds of what you want to manifest. Be sure to be in a state of gratitude and thankfulness and not a state of want. In other words, instead of saying, I want X, Y, and Z to happen in my life. Let's say you have a need for some additional money. There's something in the house that broke that you need to fix, okay? Instead of saying, I want $500 to do blah, 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 you can say, I have the resources to take care of every financial need that has come along or will come to me. By putting it into a positive of saying, I have, that brings it to you. When you say, I want, that want kicks that intent further out. In other words, it's like kicking the can down the road. All right. So present your intentions with a positive affirmation rather than from I need. With the moon and Venus being square Pluto in Capricorn, again, this is explosive emotions. Emotions are going to run high. A lot of relationship issues can manifest during this time. So if you are in a relationship and you're unhappy and your intent is that you want to, say goodbye to this one, find you a new one, great. But don't do it from a place of anger and don't do it from a place of want. Put it into terms that are a positive affirmation of what you want to see manifest in your relationships, in your love life, money, home, whatever it may be, job, whatever it may be. Okay, so just keep that in mind. At this time, Mars is trine Jupiter, and this is a time where people are pouring a lot of energy into visions for the betterment of the greater good or the betterment of humanity. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that can happen. Now, Mercury, Chiron, and Ceres all are all in Aries in the earlier parts of Aries. Now, remember that Ceres is a goddess of food, harvest, and grains, okay? Chiron can wound that, okay? In other words, there can be some major challenges to like the world's food chain, food supply. Think about what just happened with that cargo ship in the Suez Canal, and that affected 14% of the shipping, for the world. It impacted world food supplies. There can be short-term disruptions to those food supplies. So in the bigger picture, Uranus, the planet of chaos, is in the sign of Taurus until 2026. Taurus is about abundance. It's about fertility, your material, your home, your hearth, your food, your abundance, things like that, okay? With Uranus being the disruptive influence that it is, being in Taurus, that means that you need to really sit down and make a plan, okay? If there will be continued disruptions to the food supplies through 2026. Okay, so it may be in your best interest as you can to kind of put aside and plan to buy a little bit extra shelf stable food to put in like your emergency supplies. I'm not saying go out and wipe out everything. I'm saying keep some stuff to the side that is shelf stable for several years, because I do see continued threats to the world food supply and that logistics and the ability to get food to the masses, okay? It's also, if you look at Uranus in Taurus, the threat to home, hearth, and house. Think about all of the other forces that have led to disrupting the food supply for the world. Tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires, volcanoes, all of those things have been seemingly increasing, the past couple of years, and having a deeper, more devastating effect on our food supplies and the environment, wildlife, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so expect that kind of chaotic influence to still be there through 2026 because of the influence of Uranus being in Taurus. Mid-month. So Pluto will be square Aries until October 21st. This is about awakening potential and activism. So Aries is the sister of Mars. She is also a warrior. She is the goddess of chaos and discord. So there will continue to be a major shift because Aries often lashes out at those who are in power when there is an imbalance in power and fairness. So there can be continued unrest around societal issues, greater protests, activism, more with cancel culture, things like that. This is also a time when feminine energies, and I'm not saying like women, I'm saying feminine energies. Energy is different than declaring your gender, okay? I'm not going to get into that big ass discussion in this video, but more feminine energies will have a greater effect during this time through October 21st because of the influence of Aries and Pluto being square Aries. Remember that Aries has a 560-year orbit, okay? So just keep that in mind. With the influence of Aries and Mars together, okay, there is a greater will to succeed. There is a greater effort to expose the truth about what's going on, liberating people from constraints, bringing forward issues, and making those who feel that they have no voice heard, and a more grassroots approach to activism. So I will say that with all of these influences, if you are raising energy and you decide to do a ritual and you want to raise energy, I would highly recommend that you do some kind of activity rather than visualization, okay? Do a ritual activity. Sing, dance, clap, whatever that physical way is that you raise energy rather than, typical visualization in the release. I do recommend your method of raising energy to release your intention have a physical part of the ritual. That's it for the influences going on during this time. This new moon is a great opportunity for manifestation and to really encourage you to sit down and evaluate, temper your words, be cognizant of the fact that emotions and anger is running really high, and then also plan for any future disruption to the world food supply and be able to prepare your family for continued kind of chaotic things happening in the world, okay? Because this general feeling of unrest, etc., will continue through 2026, especially with respect to a threat to food supplies and things like that. Okay, so with that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. It helps me in the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed already, please become a part of our little cauldron family over here. Okay, and with that, my friends, as I always say, merry we did meet, merry we will part until we merry meet again. Be well and walk in love and light, everybody. Bye.